Hey Kevin, Carrie here. I'll give you a quick walkthrough. I've come downstairs to attempt to 3D print some kind of trinket or knickknack for my mom to give to her for Mother's Day. So I'll give you a quick overview. This is the printer. It's a ANET A8. I think I mentioned before. It's basically a clone of a Prusa i3, which is probably the most popular open source 3D print standard that's out there. Here's the filament. Comes in spools. They're sold in spools of about 1 kilogram. So as you can see, after a while you start to collect like different colors and stuff. So I've got 4 or 5 at the moment. The printer itself is pretty straightforward. Works on 3 axes. This way, and then of course up and down. So think of like a CNC machine. That's basically what it does. It's depositing plastic filament. So this is a heated print surface. What you're actually looking at is an aluminum square that's heated from below. I actually have a piece of glass. This is just a piece of glass I bought at the hardware store. On top, the reason for that is the glass is going to be a much more flat, true surface than the aluminum is. Just the nature of the material, it's going to be a little, potentially wavy and have some issues. So what I have here is a piece of glass, perfectly flat, and then I have some blue painter's tape down on top of that. That is kind of the preferred material to print on top of when you were using PLA plastic. Different story if you're using ABS, but for right now I mostly print in PLA, which is what most people do. It's basically when you fire up the printer, you tell it to go to a home position. So that's what I'm doing now. I could do this with my computer and tell it to do this, but I'll just do it here on the controls real quick. So set to origin. Oh. I haven't done it this way in a while. Set to origin's not what I want. I want home all. So as you can see, it's resetting to the home position. Because I am getting ready to print, I'm gonna go ahead and tell the printer to heat up. It's gonna heat this bed to 60 degrees Celsius, heat the element on the extruder to 200 degrees Celsius, and then we can level the bed. You don't want to level the bed before it's hot, obviously due to thermal expansion. So instead of going through these controls, I'll show you real quick. I have everything hooked up. Here's the brains of the printer. I have everything hooked up to a Raspberry Pi. And what's going on here is I actually have a print server on there called Octoprint or Octopi. It's just a Linux server that stays connected to my printer all the time. It's also connected to a Logitech webcam, so that's where I get the time-lapse videos and everything. But it's cool because instead of using the clunky interface on the printer itself, because I have this server, I can control everything through a web interface. So theoretically, I'm going to put the phone on, I got to type in my password. Theoretically, I could initiate a print remotely from work or wherever. In practice, you probably would not want to do that. Sometimes it's important to be watching for the very first layer. It can be tricky. Anyway, so I'm going to go to my server. So this is running on the Raspberry Pi. As you can see, there's the view from the video. If I was standing back there, you would see me. So anyway, I'm going to log in so that I can connect to the printer. As you see, I haven't connected to this in a while, so it's got all kinds of updates and stuff it wants me to do. We're not going to do that. Okay, so we are connected. There's a safety warning here. That's nothing wrong with my printer. It's just telling you that there's a firmware upgrade that could prevent a very specific fire hazard situation that pertains to most 3D printers, but I haven't got around to fixing that. But it's called thermal runaway or something like that. You can research it if it's interesting, but I generally do not print when I'm not home, especially considering I'm using a $150 printer from China. But anyway, all right, so what I just did was I am preheating the tool to 200, the bed to 60, and that takes about 2-3 minutes for it to get up to temperature. Now what I do is go and find designs to print. But anyway, I'll stop this video. It's getting a little long. I'll share some more with you shortly.